Hi there. I'll be teaching you how to replace a Toyota fog lamp in this video. And to begin, you need to first get the part. Now, I chose to stick with the Toyota original part that was made by Sylvania Vallejo. I don't know if you can see that, but basically this is a factory part, and you can look around and try to find the best price. But the MSRP on this particular product is around $180, and I've asked around dealers, they want to charge $220-ish to get the part. I wasn't happy with that, but I could find a part on Amazon, which is OEM, for around $58, so after tax is about $63. Anyway, to verify that this is a OEM part, first of all, you gotta the Toyota and Lexus badge or genuine parts. It should be the same. It should have the same logos as your other side fog light. So I don't know if you can see this in the camera, but it should say Vallejo Sylvania. And let me take you to the left side of the car real quick. And it has the exact same wording on this side, which says Vallejo Sylvania. Anyway, the backstory behind this smashed fog lamp is that someone decided it was fun to take a hammer to it for some reason and took out all the glass here. You can see that. Let's get to the repair. So first of all, you gotta take apart your fender liner and this whole plastic piece right here, which means that you will need a flathead screwdriver and a Phillips head screwdriver. And so let's get going. And it's going to be harder on this car because someone dented my panel when they were opening their door. So it's going to be a bit tight. But these screws are plastic, so be careful with them. And so the clip comes right off. And now for the flathead. The second clip, it's pretty hard to get out. But the thing is, you might want to try and put your wheel or turn your steering wheel to the left side so that your wheel's pointing toward the left. And then it might be easier to get to this one. But for me, the reason why it's hard to get out for me is because, again, my whole bumper is kind of out of place with this little dent here. So it's bringing the whole bumper this way a bit. So that shouldn't be a problem for you if your body is straight. But in this case, all you had to do was just turn clockwise, and then it should come out. And then you just pull this little clip right here. And man, I hate these little clips. So now you have your bumper out, or your bumper's quite released. And now slowly pry your bumper outside of it. So you pretty much want the bumper to come out like this. So no more, you don't need more working room than, pry it about to the half of the headlight here. But you can do more if you want, but that's going to require some more intense steps. So what you also want to do is come down here to give yourself a little wiggle room. Is to come down here and take off this bolt or this the screw here. It's a Phillips, and you should be able to take it off no problem. And I'll give you a little more working room inside the bumper area there, because you're taking the whole liner off, and that opens up a bit more. And of course you want to jack your car up if possible, but if not, this should suffice. Getting filthy in there. So now that you're looking at the fog lamp here, you can see that this is just basically held in by one screw, and that's this thing here. And as you're working inside your bumper here, be careful to not force anything, because these are all plastic parts and you don't want to break any more stuff that you're already replacing. You can see that this is an Osram unit, the main light housing here. It's made in Germany, and it takes out H11 bulbs in case you want to replace it in the future. And basically what you do is you reach inside and then unclip that clip that goes into the light housing there. I'll show you in a bit. So now if you take a look at the fog lamp here, you should be able to see this clip. Right here, as I'm pointing here, should be able to see, hold up, this clip right here. So once you press on the nudged or the ridged space here, you should be able to pull it out. Just pull down and your the wires will come off. Okay, so now that your wires have come off there, you can now remove the screw from the lamp. It's only bolted on by one screw, so it should be pretty easy to get off. So it is in a counterclockwise position, as with all screws in this car. So this should come right off. As you can see, the fog light is now dangling really loose, and now just wiggle it out. Now you see these tabs on the other side, but they're not connected to anything. So that means that they should be able to just come out. Let me show you a clearer view. So you see those tabs on the other side of the light, and those tabs just slide to the right and they'll come. So as you can see, the light looks like this. After a good 5 years of use, well, this thing is really dusty here, so here's what you can tell that Toyota didn't cheap out on this part. It's actually glass. Yeah, see? Glass shards are still falling out, so. And of course you can keep the bulb if you'd like. And this bulb still functions, so you can save it for later. So now this is the new bulb, or sorry, new housing. You can see, made by same thing, Osram. It's made in Germany. And well, here you go, Vallejo, Sylvania, sorry. So let's put this in. So it's pretty much the reverse of the whole process. And put this back in. So now, you can see that there's a hole and everything's plastic. So again, when you try to fit the fog light in, just don't break anything while you're at it. So here. So first of these tabs, first of your tabs go in first. So this side, all these tabs go in first. And remember that as you're at the center, as you're facing the center of the car, it's wider that side. So, I mean, either way, your light will say top or bottom. And then, there we go. Okay, so now that you got this on the now that you got the whole housing in, let's see. So now you should align the holes with the screw hole here, and go get the screw and start bolting some stuff in. And quickly just screw this screw back in. So let's use our hands to first guide it. So to tighten this screw, turn it counterclockwise. So now that you've hand guided your screw such that the screw is a little bit inside the bumper, you should now use your screwdriver and screw it back in properly. Not too tight, you don't need it to be too tight. This is not a really heavy item, so yeah. So turn it such that there's a little resistance because you reach the end, and just let it be like that. In case that you need to do this again in the future, which knock on wood, you want it to be able to get it out easily again, because these plastic clips, I mean, they wear out really fast over time. So yeah, and again, be sure to connect your wire back on, which is here now. And yes, verify that pretty much you can verify that you've set it up correctly by, your original screw hole. It should be where it is. And up front, well, as long as you have a tight seal, or at least a semi-tight seal, or something that matches the other side, that would suffice. Now if you take a look at these gaps here, of course there would be a little gap here. You see that really white part down here? Yeah, that's a gap, obviously. And you might think that it's a bad thing, but that you didn't do it right. But look at here. Look at this spot right here. This is the side that is as it's from the factory. So there's gaps here, so don't worry about it. So yes, go back to connecting your wire here. So again, your ridged connecting point should be facing down. Same thing as you should for the original setup. Shouldn't be any different. Get a good tight fit. Hear a click, and then make sure this thing doesn't wobble around. Just check again to see if you've gotten the screw tight. And that should be good. So now, what you'll want to do is check to see if your Foglight works. Now, as you can see, now everything works and all, and so while you're at it, since you're already here, check all your lights are working. Never too bad to check things while you're at things. So yes, all lights work, and you're good to go to put the bumper back. So now that you've pretty much completed the inside, and you've tested that the fog lamp works and you've connected it properly, now it's time to put the screws back. So same thing as before. You put back the flathead, which I've terribly destroyed, and the Phillips clip. And there's also one more screw here, which is the big bumper underside bolt, whatever you want to call it. That's going to hold the rain guard, splash guard, whatever you want to call it, at the front, and it connects it to the bumper basically. So you want to put this back, these three things back, whatever order you want, doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to do it with the camera angle right like this. You've pretty much seen it, so anyway, let's get to it. But first, of course, I forgot to mention, you gotta put your bumper back in. Now, as long as it's decent, and try to line up everything here too. Actually, I'm just going to have it in this angle instead. So the hard part is lighting things back up, because cleaning up the mess is always hard. And now check the undersides to see if everything lines up. Yep. So now, put this clip back in. Kind of guide it in with your hand to see if you're getting a good tightening spot. You know, if you assemble computers or stuff like that, I don't need to explain the the steps of unscrewing, because you know. Yep, I'm not expecting this to be perfect because, like I said, someone dented my car, so it moves everything off a bit. And yeah, so basically, it's pretty simple. I already destroyed this fastener here. So, turn it clockwise to get it back in. Okay, so here we have the whole car, and like I said, this isn't perfect. Someone dented it right here. If you can see the seals, you know, they're a bit caved in like this, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, so yours should look a lot better than mine. All right, you don't have little gaps over here, but for the most part, it should be pretty easy. So one more bolt here, and we'll be done here. So now you want this bolt. It goes around right here. See this mud flap here? It goes around right here. So let me get to that real quick. Hand guide this in first. With all screws, always hand guide it to see if you got the right fitment and all. I use a Phillips screwdriver, and you know, I don't have the tools that everyone has, so let me just force this in. And as long as this doesn't wobble, you gotta find fine in there. That should be fine, to be honest. Okay. So now that we're done, let's summarize the steps real quick. First of all, to remove the bumper cover, there's three clips, plastic retainers, or whatever they're called. So there's a Phillips one right here, a flathead, and then a Phillips down here. These three screws or bolts, whatever you want to call it. Now, and then after that, you unscrew those, you slowly pry off the bumper cover. So to pry off the bumper cover, do it slowly. Otherwise, you're gonna, destroy the inside, the black retainers that are like right here. You don't want to do that. Those are like $10 a piece, but I mean, replacing them is gonna be a pain. So try not to break any kind of plastic parts anymore. Anyway, so once you get in there, the housing. Now the housing is going to be pretty easy to take off. Now, your light's like this, okay, and this is exactly the orientation that the light is facing. You see how this is a little wider here versus here. So your bolt or your little screw, your Phillips head screwdriver, should be able to take out the Phillips head screw. That's on this side. What am I saying? And then pull it this way. So for the right side, this is the right side of the car. Pull it this way. So pull it this way, and the whole thing should come off. There's only one screw holding it. This is not a very heavy part. So, and then putting this part in, the new part in, is this exact same opposite as you took it out. However you want to do the steps, up to you. These are pretty basic steps, so I don't see the need to follow 5 steps in a particular order. So yeah, so first of all, put your housing inside, back into the bumper cover, slide it left such that it secures these 2 tabs right here into the plastic slots. So slide them in, and then you have a screw hole here that you're going to put the screw back in, so it's through here, and it fastens to this bumper cover, which should be around back here. You have this bezel and all that, but it should just screw into the plastic, whatever plastic part it is. And next is to plug back the wires in. So the wire comes down here. The wire is green, but I mean, it's pretty foolproof. You have two of these tabs or pins over here. Stick it back in, and then you should hear a click, and then that'll be good. And then let's see. And then after you put in the screw, okay, and then the pin, and then you basically put back the bumper cover. Now, of course, you gotta be careful of lining everything up on the side here, otherwise it won't look pretty and whatever. But yeah, screws to put back: 1 Phillips, 1 flathead, 1 bolt, or the Phillips again. Just screw it in, and you should be able to get a good fit. Now try and always lift the bumper while you're doing this. You don't want any stress on the plastic clips while you're putting them in there. That's just one rule to remember. And as you're working inside, because I didn't pry out the bumper too much. You know, the more I pry out the bumper, the more plastic parts are gonna get damaged, most likely. So yeah, so always try to get something that's wide enough for you to, you know, hold the bumper out, the bumper cover out, such that you can, you know, have easier working room or whatnot. But don't try to stretch it too much, otherwise you're gonna start breaking plastic stuff again. And that should be it. Now, I'm sorry if this took way too much time. Some people can do it in 5 minutes, and I'm sure I can do it in less than 10 if I wasn't filming. But this should take you around 15 minutes. You know, even as this is my first time doing it, so I didn't know what to expect. But I mean, if I could figure it out, I'm pretty sure you could figure it out. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.